Hi and welcome to my channel. If you're anything like I was when I was applying for the Disney College program or about to apply for the Disney College program, you were looking up countless videos of advice and information and like tips, anything you can possibly find. Well, I was accepted 3 different times for the Disney College program, twice for Disney World and once for Disneyland, which I am doing this fall. The first time I was accepted, it was for custodial in fall 2015. The second time was I was accepted for spring 2018 for attractions, and I ended up not actually being able to attend that one because I had some personal issues come up. And then for this fall, I am going to be going to Disneyland for a quick service greeter role. Their roles that involves quick service food and beverage is a little bit different than what Disney World does, but I'll go into that a little bit more detail when I'm actually down there working. Everybody's application process is a little bit different than someone else's could be. You kind of have to have a resume that stands out to the recruiters. What I did all 3 times I applied, I would put a letter of recommendation, a cover letter, my resume, my references, like everything possible that would make me stand out more as a candidate, so that the recruiters would go and they'll look at that and be like, oh, this person did this, or this person did that, or this person has a reference from Disney. Let's call them and see how they did when they worked for the program or the company. And the first time I applied, I put all the roles down, all except lifeguard, because I can't swim. But if you really want to work for Disney and you really don't care what role you get, I highly recommend you putting down an interest on every single role that they have to offer. But just keep in mind that you may get accepted for that role you don't really want. So if you don't want that role, don't put it. But if you absolutely want to work for Disney, then go ahead and put it, because that's more than likely the one you're going to get put in if you put something like quick service or custodial or merchandise, because those are the less desirable roles. But my second time applying, I didn't do that. I only put 4 or 5 roles down that I actually wanted. I put character performer, I put character attendant, I put attractions, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and then children's activities. Those are the 5 that I put. And I ended up getting accepted for attractions, and I would have gone to the audition in Seattle, but I had to cancel that program, so I ended up not going. But I applied for Disneyland for the fall, and I again only put down 4 or 5 roles. I put park greeter, I put Disney desk attractions, quick service food and beverage like greeter, because the way they do their roles in quick service are a little bit different than Disney World, so I'll go into more detail with that once I'm down there and I'm actually working, because I did do quick service for a little bit my first program, but I got moved into custodial. Some people move through the application process a lot quicker than somebody else would. For me, all 3 times I applied on the 3rd day or 4th day that applications dropped. I immediately went to the web-based interview and then scheduled my phone interview. My phone interview was normally a week or so after I scheduled it, and then 2 days after my phone interview each time I was accepted into the program. Now, when you're doing your web-based interview, I highly recommend you kind of taking notes when you're doing it, because they will ask you the same question multiple times but in different ways to make sure you stay persistent, because they want you to answer the questions the way Disney would want you to answer. Just so have that kind of mindset going in to the web-based interview. It's not hard, it's not difficult. There are questions like, I like to work well with people, agree, strongly disagree, or whatever. And then for your phone interview, they would normally ask you questions like, how would you handle a difficult guest? Or what would you tell a child when they're not tall enough to ride Indiana Jones or Tower of Terror? Like, how would you tell them that, you know, they're not tall enough to ride it yet? They asked you if you ever lived with roommates and if you had any problems and how you solved that problem. They will ask if you're interested in character performer or character attendant, like what would you say if Winnie the Pooh had to go for a little bit off stage and there was a long line of guests, and you'd be like, oh, Pooh Bear has to go get some honey because he's honey. Pooh Bear has to go get some honey because he's hungry. For my phone interview, my first one, I was over prepared. I had all these notes in front of me. I had like questions that I looked up like in videos of that people say they got asked, and I wrote down my answers, right? I would have that all in front of me, and they ended up stressing myself out and thinking that I didn't do great on my interview because I stressed myself out so much that I just felt unprepared once I actually started taking the interview. So the second 2 times I just waited for the call and I answered the questions the way I would if I would walk into any other normal interview. They're always really laid back. What I recommend doing for the phone interview is sitting in front of a mirror so you can tell that you're smiling, because I can hear that in your voice when you're smiling, and if you're smiling they know you actually like you want to do this. The thing they're asking you is about handling money and handling a safety situation, because a lot of the roles are safety oriented. Like, how would you handle a situation if a guest like fell down and you were the one who like saw it, and how you would like, you know, crowd control the people so they don't like come over and like watch. They'll ask you questions like that, and they also ask you just things about the roles that you put down. So for instance, once some high interest roles, so for my second time applying, I didn't get asked once about Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, but so since this is a thing now, I kind of recommend to not bombard the recruiters with all these questions, because chances are they've answered them before, so you can go through their @replies on Twitter. You can also search current Facebook groups about keywords to questions that you have, and chances are they've also been answered multiple times in those groups. And there's always alumni in the groups, because most of the time they join them even if they're not doing the program, just to help clear the minds of people, help answer their questions, so that they makes everyone's application progress a lot smoother. So yeah, that's all the advice that I can really think of right now. You can feel free, you can comment on this video, you can send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. If you have any questions about custodial, I'll be making a video for that next, because that's not one of the most desirable roles, but I actually really enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you for watching.